Hello and welcome to the Mill Creek View CEO Special with me, your host, Steve Abramowitz, where I interview the best business people and entrepreneurs. Welcome back, everybody, to the Mill Creek View CEO Special, where we always interview somebody who is into an interesting business that you probably wouldn't have heard of otherwise, but you're going to hear a lot about this one going forward. Think of Pokemon Go, but instead of hunting for Pokemon, you're hunting for swag. Get the coolest and latest swag from the brands you already love because, honestly, who doesn't love a great deal? Swagger, SWAG', is the leading augmented reality platform for instant brand activation at live events. The Swagger content delivery platform uses AR, gamification, promotional content, and targeted geolocation technologies to drive unprecedented fan engagement with national, regional, and local brands by delivering any manner of branded content in gamified ways across live event maps. Swagger consistently outperforms legacy advertising channels while adding a whole new layer of fun and value to users. Greg is Swagger's fearless mission man and top dog. As the founder of Swagger, he guides the big picture vision of the company. He keeps the team running smoothly and provides this great group of people his overall creative drive and excitement. He is also the company's cheerleader, injecting massive passion and fun into daily operations. Mr. Williams, Greg Williams, founder and CEO, started his startup journey at the age of 24 as the co-founder and vice president for ShopperBox, a smart parcel and e-commerce delivery platform ahead of its time. Think Amazon Locker launches in 2011 and now serves over 2,000 locations in 50 plus cities. Mr. Williams was responsible for the overall business development and fundraising, while at ShopperBox, the company went through two major rounds of financing and had several partnerships in the e-commerce and parcel delivery industries. The company exited its patent portfolio in late 2002 to Amazon. In addition to being the brainchild behind Swagger, Greg founded and continues to operate Pontifex LLX. Pontifex LLX is a private commercial real estate lending firm, giving him unique insights into the world of real estate and the opportunities to open for Swagger. George Aposporos is
very good.
Thank you. Is the acting CEO. George is a tech executive, founder, and consultant where he specializes in consulting for growth companies and nonprofits in a wide range of sectors on marketing strategy and business development. George was formerly founding vice president of a little business development company called Amazon, where he architected Amazon's portal distribution strategy, led strategic partnerships, and was instrumental in Amazon's growth from 300,000 to 11 million customers in 24 months. He served as chief strategy officer at Priceline Webhouse Club, a company created by Priceline founder Jay Walker to bring Priceline's name your own price concept to groceries. He has consulted for a wide range of companies and organizations from Starbucks and Rodale Press to, you may have heard of, the NFL Players Association. He is currently an advisor to the Coalition of Rainforest Nations, creator of the REDD, R-E-D-D+, reducing emissions from deforestation and deregulation mechanism enshrined in Article 5 of the Paris Agreement to create global financial incentives for rainforest preservations and rainforest nations. So that is a mouthful, but I was talking about two wonderful people in one, so bear with me and I'm sorry. But welcome, George. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks a lot. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm so thankful that you took your time to come into the come on the show with me today and tell us all about this amazing company and technology, Swagger. Why don't we start there? Tell us how you found your way to Swagger. Great place to start at the beginning.
Sure. Do you want me to? I feel I should just say that the reason I'm speaking instead of our illustrious founder is simply that he's had some medical stuff and he's just had an operation, so he can't join today. So I'm standing in. I found my way to Swagger. It was a while ago, many years. It was years ago. Greg had been developing the concept and had done some focus groups and had I don't know if you would call it a prototype. Actually, it was a working app. And he wanted me to see it. We were introduced by someone, mutual connection on the board. And I was supposed to try the app, but I was on my way to a meeting downtown DC. I live in the DC area. So when I got off the metro, I had allotted about 15, 20 minutes to try the app in Farragut Square Park. And I don't know how familiar you are with DC, pretty central little park. And I got out and it was pouring rain. And I look at my app and it's got these little points of interest or sort of banners, pins, we call them now, but on the map. And as I would get close to one of them, it would let me know how close I was getting. And I knew that there were rewards if I grabbed the pin. So what was remarkable to me is I found it sufficiently engaging that I did the whole map, even in the pouring rain. And I'm like, this guy's got something. if I find it engaging enough to do in the rain, he's got something. And I called him and told him that. And so then I started getting involved with the company.
That's a great way to find something that you like. So tell us, for those who are not seeing this on video, explain the experience on the app. Tell them what they would see in Swagger, why they would even have a Swagger app, and what it can do for them, and if more importantly, what it can do for advertisers.
Right. So while the description that you read kept mentioning live events, and while we have done some live events, some major ones, NASCAR, Coca-Cola 500, and some others, we're really targeting college campuses. And we're going to be rolling out back to school this fall. And the app, simply you download the Swagger app. It has an avatar on it and a map. The map is empty unless we have populated it with offers. These are deals, discounts, offers, free tacos, 45% off, basketball shoes, name brand basketball shoes, all kinds of different stuff that college students might find useful and beneficial, and they're spread out. They're marked by brand icons that are 3D icons on a map, which you then travel to. You walk and go and grab them by getting close to them. When you get close to them, a window pops up on the app, says, "You want to grab this swag?" And if you do, then you grab it and you put it in a swag bag, and then you can redeem it. Whether that involves going in store, going to a website, just showing up at the campus food location and flashing a barcode or a QR code. There are a number of ways in which you can get redemption. And we've tested this at a number of campuses around the country, and the response has been really awesome.
How many campuses?
I would say a couple dozen, probably.
Couple
different parts. Yeah. Originally down a little bit in Southern California, we then did an extended test at Arizona State University. And then we tested a cluster of schools around Boston, including Harvard and BU. And just the pickup was really strong. One of the things that we found is we got to very high penetration, over a third of the student population, with basically no advertising.
So very popular apps out there, of course, would be Uber or Lyft and Hub and whatnot. And when you order something, you can see, or even just Wave, where you see the map of where you are and where you're going.
Right.
You play on that technology, obviously, because you own the real estate of the college campus, or I believe there's a Live Nation connection as well. So when they do a festival or a concert, maybe there's some connection to the stadium so people can walk around and pick up digital swag, not tokens, but icons at a event.
Right. So we had a lot of discussions with Live Nation, and we do have a relationship with them. But right now, we are focused on the college campuses. And the beautiful thing about Swagger is we take advantage of the nature of augmented reality. So there's a physical map. There's a place where people are traveling physically outside of their room, right? Their dorm room. And they have to do that to see the swag or see the pin. And the pin is visible only through the app. Okay, so now you have a layer of reality on what we call the digital real estate, or a layer of digital reality, if you will. On the digital real estate, it's another layer on top of the physical map. And we can put it anywhere in the school. We could go, for example, on UCLA and put on Bruin Walkway, We could put it at the Rose Bowl, at the entrance to the Rose Bowl for USC. And for all of these, we can do it without having a deal with the university.
So they don't own their digital real estate.
No, they don't. And in fact, if you think about it, that's true of any app, really. An app creates another layer of interaction. But this idea of specifically targeting universities, which have these multi-million-dollar high friction points to access and get to their student body, and democratizing it by making it really simple to reach students through our digital platform, means that we can we can offer something to brands that is much less expensive and also much more effective. We've had tremendous KPIs, if you're familiar with that term.
No, please.
Sure, it's key performance indicators. It's shorthand for the key metrics of any business in an entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so here, some of the key metrics would be, okay, what percent of the users grab something? Okay, that percentage is over 35%. Wow. That's way, way, way beyond. It's really effectively a click-through rate, and that's way beyond any click-through rate you would get on Google search, and beyond click-throughs you would get on a lot of Facebook ads.
I would think that you would have the opportunity to say, based on time and position, that this spot on the UCLA campus or the USC campus where the quad is, or Harvard, they all have. You could say this spot is more valuable to the retailer than, say, way over here in the corner where maybe the yoga team meets.
I think that's a very good point, and we could. That's smart, and in the future we may do that. To begin with, we've decided to democratize the access to the spots by rotating, giving every advertiser a participation in. We will rotate all the pins, so every advertiser will get to participate in the high traffic locations. But you're right. In the future, we probably could.
And what kind of partnerships can we talk about? Because obviously, an app that had a local chiropractor or right. food supplement company. Well, actually, that would be kind of huge. What kind of partners do you have?
So we have so far. We have the ones I can talk about. We have Merrell, the outdoor company and footwear company, has been our premier initial sponsor, and we have they've been great to work with, and they're offering we want and try to get great exclusive offers for our platform, and so they have an initial offer which will be only available to Swagger users, like 45% off their latest trail shoes, which are really cool shoes, and then their entire first purchase. So it'll go to a website where you enter a code, the Merrell website, you enter a promo code and be able to get that. Now, in addition to that, we have conversations going with a number of other sponsors, and we've just brought on someone who's really got a great track record in this. Her name is Kara House. She helped create a company start a company in the United States called Student Beans. And she also has a company called Brand Partnerships, interestingly enough, which matches advertisers and brands. And so we're building a book of advertisers who will sign on, try it, but it's a mix of big name brands. I mean, we're talking to people have talked to people like Subaru and Pepsi, Red Bull. They're not signed yet, but we have conversations going on. And then, as well as startup brands that are of particular interest.
Sure.
To college students. And there are a lot of really interesting companies that have great products that are coming on, and we give them a way to participate too. If they don't have a lot of money, we can do revenue share deals with them.
So the individual with a cell phone, and I guess you would probably be on the App Store for both iTunes or Apple and Google.
Exactly.
They open the app, they walk around like they would anyway from class to class or wherever they're going, and they will see an image of the Merrell logo or the Taco Bell logo or whoever the case may be.
Right.
And they grab that if they want it, and then 2 hours later at lunchtime, they go to Taco Bell and they redeem their item, and that's the gig.
That's it, right? And they got a free taco or whatever it was, right? That's right.
Okay.
Yep. So it's a simple concept, but it's fun.
Yes.
And there are a lot of gamification extensions that you can do. We can have limits on offers, so that, for example, we gave away 100 free tacos on one campus, and all the 100 free tacos went very quickly. People kept coming to try to grab the pin and then found that we had no more offers. But when we went to check out the response and compared it to the business at the taco location, which was one of the Aramark food locations on the campus, there were hundreds of people there. So even people who didn't get a free taco were like, you know what, taco sounds good. Let's go anyway and buy a taco.
That's right. And I had heard that the Uber app, as well as the Lyft app, if you're taking a ride, if it knows that you're anywhere near one of those type of markets, it will tell you. So if your destination is near a taco time, it will say, hey, have you thought of taco time lately? And you just might say subliminally, I think I need a taco. So that's fantastic. So let's ask about obviously, if you're targeting college campuses, in the last 2 years, college campuses went through a unbelievable amount of change or turmoil because we
were on hold.
We were on
hold during the pandemic. We had to wait. We had a lot of momentum going into the pandemic, and unfortunately, it was dissipated by the 2 years of inaction. People weren't congregating in public.
And was it a blessing in disguise? Did it give you the opportunity to work on your IT or your technology behind the scenes when you couldn't be actually at the market? You could actually be working on the product in R&D?
That's a great question, Steve. And actually, that's exactly right. Yes, in that intervening time period, that's what we did. We made the product better. It's much cooler now. It's really a wow experience. People really love it. And we also became development partners with Niantic Labs, which is the company that created Pokemon Go. And they're big supporters of what we're doing. And so that means we are getting access to their latest technology from their development subsidiary, Lightship, as a developer partner. And we're really excited about that because they're developing some really cool stuff. And our app is a tremendous way to showcase a lot of that stuff. We can't talk about it yet, but there's some really cool things coming forward.
Now, when I called Greg, who I've known for many years, and I guess full disclosure, I've worked a little bit with Swagger behind the scenes in terms of employment and making connections. Let's just say that. Nothing financially compromising or just I'm not conflicted. But he was on his way to a music festival in Los Angeles, a very famous one that also was on hold during COVID, but this year came back. Is there anything interesting that came
to report from it? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that's how I connected with him again to say, would you like to come on the show? And he was saying, when I get back from there, I will tell you all about it. And he did. And here we are today with you. Did anything fruitful come out from the experiment at the festival, not the college campus, that is going to help your company going forward for new business?
Well, I think it was useful, but the event was Coachella, and we had have a relationship with one of the premier camping areas called Area 51, I think it's called, and unfortunately, we had advertisers ready to test, and we started to promote the downloads. We had a little problem because Greg's the condition for which he's just gotten surgery yesterday or 2 days ago really surfaced, and he wasn't able. We were more worried about Greg. We couldn't really fully go into it. Despite this, we got several thousand downloads. And we got a lot of buzz. So we also got helpful feedback from users on some design features that we have already taken action on. So that was good. Actually, coming after that, we did, you may not know about this, but we did a nice event. We sponsored a really cool event in Los Angeles that was scheduled coincide with and included a lot of people from the Milken Conference, which is a major event that's held in LA every year by Mike Milken.
I attended that in 1999. He's been doing
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So I can imagine. Right. That's cool. It's probably grown quite a lot since then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the event was called Night of the Dragons, and it was it was held by a group called Creativo, and what they do is is create really interesting events fusing art and kind of new companies that are doing interesting things and pitching investment. So the art was a group of Asian American artists called Share Your Asian Story. There was some beautiful art available for sale, and there were a lot of people who to whom we pitched Swagger and got a lot of great contacts out of, which was helpful to our fundraising, which we're in the process of doing. So
I could see this being a huge popular app in Japan because of the animation that you provide on the app, and the better it keeps getting better. What has been the response?
Good point.
Yeah, what has been the response? Korea as well, South Korea. What would be, or what has been the industry response at industry conferences when they finally get to look at you and hear the story for the first time? Have you been doing that?
We haven't done a lot of industry conferences. We're really focused on just doing outreach to investors, getting the money together that we need, and building our operations and focusing on building the best product.
Well, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about your money raising, since you are a startup, and then business is money, and then we like that here. So tell us how that's going and what your target market is for investors.
Well, I think our target market is, it's been going pretty well, but we need to reach a wider audience, which is why we co-sponsored this event. It helped us extend our audience. And our target market is accredited investors, but those who are interested particularly in would appreciate companies that, while startup, are kind of, we're unusually positioned in the startup market, and we need people who will understand that. Unusually positioned because usually a startup is raising money, say, hey, we've got an idea and we need to build a product. Okay, we've done that. We have a product. The product build out and the testing and the metrics, all of that has been financed by, our mutual friend Greg, who has put in a substantial amount of money personally. So that has de-risked the venture quite a lot. Obviously, you still have to prove product market fit in terms of pricing and advertisers and what they'll pay. But I think that what we need to put together now is you would call it either a late seed round or a Series A round of around $2.5 million. And we've been talking to a number of investors and angel groups. So I would say that in particular, our target would be high net worth or reasonably high net worth angel investor types who can write checks for $50,000, $100,000, and or more, and funds that are interested in that space. But I think we like talking to the individual angel investors more, I think, because they seem to appreciate it. We're a little bit more that we've de-risked the situation, and they're willing to acknowledge that it could really grow quickly.
And to be clear, it is not just the two schools you named. You could put this app into effect anywhere on Earth with your digital real estate.
Thank you. That's right. This is what we're doing is we want to learn. Exactly right. And that's a very good point. I haven't spoken about the market size there. So in the U.S., there are over 5,000, the market for colleges and universities, over 5,000 locations. Of these, the heaviest population concentration is in the top 2,500. Let's say we're starting with 12 schools, but we would quickly be expanding to 100 schools, and then beyond that to 500 and 1,000, because we have a very low marginal cost to go to another school. Okay, so what you're looking at is really a platform that's very extensible, low marginal cost to expand, can expand quickly, and has high margins. It's a really good business model, I think, in a lot of ways. And so if you're interested in finding out more about the model or talking to us about it, we would be happy to do that. Please go to www.gotswagger, GOTSWAGR.com. And you'll find at that site, go to contact us or about us. You can see the executive team, and you can please send us an inquiry, and we will be in touch with you to chat further, send you our deck and whatever conversation you'd like to get involved in. So, and please, go ahead, Steve.
So, George, we are at the end of our time here, but I'd really like you, if you would, maybe for the last 60 seconds, just tell us about your team. You have some really amazing professionals on the company.
Thank you. Yes, we do. So thank you. You shared my background. I'm an early Amazon and Priceline Webhouse exec. We have our controller is Marcia Stillwell, and she was early at Nike and was the controller for Nike from when it was very small. There were 50 people to 15 years later, where she was offered the CFO job and decided she didn't want to take it. And so we've got that level of growth experience. And we have very talented, I mentioned Kara House, who's extremely talented on the brand side. We've got Kevin Kajetse, who is a millennial, much closer to the Gen Z demographic that we're going after, who is named as president. And his background has been primarily real estate business, but he did found a tech startup that he sold at a very decent price and had a good exit. And so we've got, I think, a great combination of people who have got entrepreneurial experience, who understand this market, and can really execute to enable it to grow quickly. And the key with something like this is actually building it so that it can scale quickly. And for that, you have to be very conscious of the product side and the back end. And our CTO, who's outboard, is Ben Strackney, and he's been building the product from the beginning. So we do some outboard development, but it's a very good team, I think, and cohesive. Yeah. So I think all the pieces are in place for this to really move.
Me too. And I'm a big fan of Swagger, and a big fan of Greg, and I want to wish him speedy recovery and all the best. I do know what you were talking about and what he's going through, and I'm praying for him, and I'm actually praying for Swagger to explode onto the market. So,
thank you so much. That's very kind. Thank you, Steve. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care.
Welcome back to my Book of the Day segment, where I talk about a book that I think you would benefit from reading. Why not? Periodization, 12 Weeks to Break Through, a guide to creating results through focus, commitment, and accountability in paperback by Brian P. Moran. Periodization is a process forged in the field of sports, used by world-class athletes such as Lance Armstrong, and transformed from business and the financial services industry by strategic breakthroughs. Read this book and get started today and begin experiencing greater results for yourself and your firm. Brian Moran, president of the founder of the 12-Week Year, has 30 years of experience as a corporate executive, entrepreneur, consultant, and coach. His background as a corporate executive, combined with his experience as an entrepreneur, positions him with a unique skill set to help individuals and organizations grow and prosper. Brian is a recognized expert in the field of leadership and execution. His realization that most people don't lack ideas but struggle with effective implementation led him to the development of the 12-Week Year. In addition to his book, Brian has been published in many of the leading businesses, journals, and magazines. He is a sought-after speaker, educating and inspiring thousands each year. Brian lives in Michigan with his wife, Judy, and their 2 daughters. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you hear here, please tune in to the Mill Creek View stable of podcast, Tennessee and Washington, soon to roll out in other states. And again, thanks for listening.